Howdy folks, and we're starting the weekend early today with another Horizon Zero Dawn video. Yep, sometimes I just get kind of tired of doing World of Tanks and World of Warships videos all the time, and I like to mix things up a bit. What do you mean, Jingles? Another Horizon Zero Dawn video? When did you do the first one? Well, it was quite some time ago, 7th of December last year to be precise, and I don't expect those of you who haven't or aren't already familiar with the game to remember what happened. So, we're going to start with a brief recap. Hundreds, possibly thousands of years in the future, nobody really knows, after some kind of global apocalypse, the survivors of the human race live a tribal, primitive existence. Now, we don't know how the world ended up in this state. Spoiler alert, we're going to find out by playing the game. But there are certain clues. The biggest one is the glaring absence of any kind of animal life anywhere in the world that we know of bigger than, say, a dog. It's not that there aren't herds of creatures of all shapes and sizes wandering around the world, going about their business and being preyed upon by other predators. It's just that they're not animals. They're all robots. Robots that wander the world in herds, grazing on biomatter, other robots that protect the herds, and yet more robots that prey on both the protectors and the herd robots. It's all kind of weird. Of course, to the people in the world, this is all they've ever known. It's completely normal. Nobody really asks too many questions when they're occupied with the day-to-day business of survival. Nobody, that is, except for young Aloy here. Aloy has a lot of questions, not least of which, why was she made an outcast? The tribe that Aloy belongs to have a strict taboo against technology. Anybody found breaking these taboos is cast out. Aloy, for reasons which have not yet been explained, was made an outcast on the day that she was born, and entrusted into the care of another outcast, Rost, a man with a very serious and mysterious past. Since they are both outcasts, the only way that Aloy is ever going to get any answers to her questions is to successfully undertake the tribal trials to become a brave. Even outcasts can take part. While that will get her accepted back into tribal society, it's not going to get her any questions answered. In order for that to happen, she's going to have to finish first, and this will allow her to ask a boon of the village elders. Aloy undertakes the trials. There's some pushback from some of the more old school of the tribal members who refuse to accept an outcast under any circumstances, and all is going reasonably well until the proving trials are attacked by a group of unknown outsiders wielding technological weapons. Most of the trialists are killed. Aloy herself is seriously injured and is only saved by the intervention of Rost, who comes to her aid and is himself killed in the process. Upon regaining consciousness, Aloy finds herself in her tribe's most holy of holy places, a cave inside the mountain known as the Heart of the Mother. And it's here where Aloy discovers the reason why she was made an outcast all those years ago. All this time, Aloy never knew who her mother was, and given that this is a very strongly matriarchal tribal society, that was a bit of an issue. Turns out that Aloy never really had a mother that anybody knew, because she was discovered right here in the Heart of the Mother as a newborn baby. The tribal elders couldn't make their minds up whether or not she was a gift from the mother or a curse. And to be on the safe side, against the wishes of Elder Tirsa here, she was cast out of the tribe and entrusted into the care and protection of the outcast Rost. Aloy was definitely not getting the answers to the questions that she was expecting. But while she's here in the Heart of the Mother for the first time since the day she was born, something unexpected happens. Many years ago, when she was a young child, she got lost and accidentally fell into what her tribe refers to as one of the forbidden places. These are technological remnants from the old world. And while there, she found a trinket known as a focus. It's that thing on her ear. You or I would think of it as some kind of advanced PDA. And it's while she's here in the Heart of the Mother for the first time in years that the focus comes to life of its own accord and begins to interact with what her tribe refer to as the Mother, but which is clearly some kind of advanced artificial intelligence. And it's recognized something in Aloy.
Hold for identiscan.
The goddess speaks.
Just like the woman I saw.
Alpha registry corrupted. Identity cannot be confirmed. Entry denied.
No, no. Please.
Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. It turns out that the computer couldn't verify whatever Aloy's identity is because of data corruption. Now, the elders may not understand the word data, but they're very familiar with the concept of corruption, and we're not talking political corruption here. Strange things have been happening outside the borders of the tribal lands, and they've started to leak inside as well. There are new, insidious types of robot appearing out there, robots that appear to be able to corrupt and control the other robots and turn them against the tribe. So Elder Tirsa here, unable to directly help Aloy, she doesn't have the answers that she wants, but sensing an opportunity to kill two birds with one stone, convinces the other elders to have Aloy appointed as a seeker, somebody who's allowed to leave the tribal lands and basically go where they want and do what they want in order to achieve a certain task. In the case of Aloy, it's to find and eliminate the source of the corruption, and in the process, perhaps, she can find out why it is that she isn't able to get through this door and get the answers that she needs. And that brings us more or less up to date with where we left off at the end of my first and so far only Horizon Zero Dawn video, around about 4 months ago in December of last year. So, the first thing that Aloy's going to have to do is leave the village. That isn't going to be quite as straightforward as you might expect. The proving trials have been attacked, the village itself has been attacked, the chief of the Braves has gone missing while leading a punitive raid against the attackers, and you may recall I did mention that there were certain members of the tribe who weren't incredibly excited at the idea of an outcast taking part in the proving trials in the first place, whether it was their right or not. Well, the single biggest arsehole who objected to Aloy's presence in the proving trials, with the absence of the chief, has now found himself by default in the position of being responsible for the village's defences. And he's not the kind of guy to let silly little things like obeying the law get in the way of making life even harder for Aloy than it needs to be just because he can.
I need the gate opened.
Since when has any outcast's need been my concern?
Since I was anointed a seeker. Now open the gate.
You? A seeker? Have Tirsa and Jezza gone insane? Bad enough that they let you run in the proving. But to nurse you back to health inside the sacred mountain? No wonder a curse is upon us and children lie dead under cairns of stone.
How can you be so heartless? I fought beside those children, shoulder to shoulder and back to back. I saw them fall.
If even one of them had been true Nora, they would have put an arrow in your back.
Resh, come on.
Silence! I am your war chief.
And I am a seeker anointed by the High Matriarchs. So open the gate, and I will be on my way.
The sooner you're gone from here, the better.
What was that?
Nothing good. Did I mention that there were new robots appearing that were capable of subverting existing robots to their will? Yeah. We're about to meet one.
The demon!
Sound the alarm!
By the goddess, what's it doing to them?
Taking control.
Right!
What have you brought on us now, you motherless curse?
Kill them, Braves! Kill them all!
Braves! Ready
I'm not entirely sure what mental processes have led that dick to decide that this is also Aloy's fault, but, well, you know, whatever. As long as he's happy in his own little mind.
Gotta get in position.
Right. I might be relatively safe at first up here. But there's no guarantee that these things can't actually wreck the hut. Ooh, that's a big bugger. Now, using the focus, I'm able to actually spot the weak spots. That's the fuel canisters on this thing's back. If I can just hit them. It ain't easy using a joypad. Ooh, ow, crap. No, that hurt. Yeah. I think I'm just going to have to get up close and personal. Smack them up with a spear. The charges are not that dangerous. I mean, they can be. You don't want to get kicked by one of them. They're basically sort of robotic horse analogues. But it's that big bugger, the corruptor, the demon. That's the thing that needs to die. Yep, yeah, it looks like I would... Wow, that's actually quite impressive. It completely wrecked the hut that I was initially standing on top of. Of course, it's launching missiles all over the place as well, so I wouldn't have been safe on top of the hut anyway. Come on.
It's down.
And it's down. Right. It's at this point where Aloy is going to learn something very, very useful from the wreck of the corruptor.
What's its secret? How'd you do it? Show me. You made them obey you. How? This. You did it with this. It's connecting to my focus. Then I could use this. It's worth a shot. Couple loops of wire. Looks like it'll hold. I just need to test it.
Well, that's all good in theory, but we're going to have to put that theory to the test. So, once we're outside the gates, just attracting the attention of that Strider over there. And then, once it's close enough...
Okay, here it goes. Come on, come on.
And we now have control of our very own Strider. Using this override ability, Aloy is able to take control of certain of the robots. The ability can be upgraded to take control of more and more powerful robots, but for now, simple herd robots like this Strider are the limit of what she can control. As an added bonus, robots like this Strider are not just useful as a mount, they're also fairly handy in combat. I've got to be honest with you, my first couple of days playing Horizon Zero Dawn, I thought that this whole robots as animals thing was a nice gimmick, but that was pretty much all it was, just a gimmick. It turns out that there is actually a very, very good reason for why there are no large animals left in the world, and these robots have filled that ecological niche. And discovering the reason why is going to take up a large part of the story of Horizon Zero Dawn. Once you've made your way out of the gates, having taken care of your first corruptor and learned the override ability, that override ability is going to come in very, very handy for more than just taking control of the occasional robot and using it as a ride. And it's also, shortly after leaving the gates of Mother's Embrace, that you find out exactly what kind of game Horizon Zero Dawn really is. Those of you who are familiar with the Far Cry series, and lately the Assassin's Creed series as well, are going to be right at home here. Do you remember the radio towers in Far Cry 4? And I think Far Cry 3 as well. They actually became a bit of a meme. The idea that you would have to climb a radio tower in order to unlock all of the various different locations around it. Well, they've got that in Horizon Zero Dawn as well. It's very easy to see where this game's influences come from. But they're not radio towers. They're these things. They're called tall necks, and once you have the override ability and you climb to the top of one of these tall necks, you can override it and gain all of the information that it has by sending out a radar pulse to, you guessed it, unlock all of the locations around the tall neck. It's a Far Cry radio tower, except it's a robot. A very, very big robot. A very big robot that really doesn't like people messing around with its control systems. So I think it's time to leave. And just like the Far Cry games, or Assassin's Creed Odyssey, or Ghost Recon Wildlands for that matter, there is a bewilderingly huge amount of things to see and do. You could easily lose yourself for weeks in this game just doing the side quests. However, for the sake of this video playthrough series, I'm mostly going to be concentrating on the story missions and the plot, because I found the plot of Horizon Zero Dawn, once I actually understood what the plot was, to be absolutely fascinating, and hopefully by the time we eventually reach the end of this series, you'll agree. So, about that plot. One of the things that I found most fascinating about Horizon Zero Dawn was the history of the world. How did we go from what we know today to a world that looks like this? What's the deal with these robots? Why are they here? Why are they doing the things that they're doing? Because at the moment they just really appear to kind of be eating biomatter and preying on each other. There doesn't really seem to be any kind of purpose to it. And we're going to start to find the answers to questions just like that in places like this. Places where there's old technology. This is known as a cauldron. There are a couple of them scattered throughout the world. You need the override tool to get into them. This is Cauldron Sigma. And this is the kind of place where we're going to start to find the answers to some of those questions. There were certain very, to me at least, important, logical questions posed by the existence of these robots. See, I like my games to at least try to make sense, and there were things about those robots that bothered me, because we haven't seen them self-replicating, and yet the world is full of robots. And we don't know exactly how long it's been since the world that we know and the world of Horizon Zero Dawn, but judging by the state of some of the ruins that we've come across, it's easily hundreds, perhaps even thousands of years. And while none of the robots that we've seen appear to be falling apart, none of them look particularly brand new either. You know, there's elements of wear and tear on them, so they don't really appear to be self-repairing. Now, we've seen certain different types of robot. You've got the type of robot that grazes on biomatter, presumably as a fuel source. Then there are other types of robots that prey on the robots that graze on biomatter. And we've seen them cannibalizing the wrecks of robots that they've hunted down, presumably as a means of repairing themselves, but not all of them exhibit these kind of behavioural patterns. So while some types of robots do appear to have some basic level of ability to repair themselves by cannibalizing the corpses, for want of a better word, of other robots, not all of them do. So at some point you would expect the robots that aren't capable of performing limited repairs upon themselves, you would expect them to be breaking down and just kind of dying of old age, as it were. And they're not breeding because they're robots, they're not animals, and we haven't seen them self-replicating. So we haven't seen robots producing new robots. Any of the original robots must have broken down and failed by now, because it's been hundreds, possibly thousands of years since they were originally created. And humans are also preying on the robots as a means of gathering metals and plastics. And yet, the world is still full of robots, and they don't appear to be that old. They exhibit certain elements of wear and tear, but they certainly don't look like they're hundreds or thousands of years old. So where are all these new robots coming from? Equally importantly, what's the point? Because all they're doing is eating biomatter and preying on each other. Over and over and over and over. If there's a purpose to it, I'll be buggered if I know what it is. So I was thinking, yeah, robots. It's a nice gimmick. Robots instead of animals, fine. But I wasn't expecting there to be an actual reason for it. But there absolutely is, and it does make perfect sense.
Might regret this. True. Machines are built in these places. But why? And by who?
Bloody good question.
That's not
turns out that these cauldrons, or at least this one, is actually some kind of robotic forge. New robots are being produced here all the time. Still haven't got the faintest idea why, for what purpose, but at least we know where the new robots are coming from.
I've got as far as this thing will take me.
Again, I kind of have to be honest here. I made that all look incredibly easy just by editing down the approximately hour of falling to my death over and over and over, trying to jump off ledges and catch onto flying robots, until I figured out that all I had to do was look up and just grab onto a handhold. It's a similar deal here, although it's a little more obvious, although I did spend quite some time trying to figure out a way of shutting down that force field up ahead. And there isn't a way of shutting down that force field up ahead. But you're not supposed to shut it down, you just drop off and climb up here. Each one of these cauldrons presents its own unique set of running and jumping puzzles. And some of them can be quite fiendish, but eventually you're going to make it to the core, where you're going to encounter a whole new set of problems. What is that? New machine discovered. Fire bellow back. Well, I think I can guess what it does. I'll bet it's some kind of flamethrower. Well, that's going to be fun. It didn't take long to figure it out, but that thing down there, the bellow back, not that, the thing inside the shield is the fire bellow back. And it's shielded, because it's inside the shield. So there are these discharge pylons scattered around the core that I have to activate in order to take that shield down. Now, it was at this point that nobody really stopped to ask the question, why on earth would you want to take the shield down? It's a dirty great robot that spits fire all over the place. On the other side of that shield is exactly where I'd like it to stay, but, well, nobody asked my opinion. So, take the shield down we are going to have to do. So, having taken care of the robotic watchers, we're going to override one of these discharge pylons. And what's that done? Ooh, yeah, it's not going to... Crap! Bollocks! Shit! Oh god, and there's fresh watchers spawning as well. Yep, it spits fire, this is not good. Now, it's got a weakness, of course. The tanks on its back are going to be vulnerable to a certain type of attack. But I don't really have time to stop and ask, so we're just going to... Ow, shit. Oh, well, that could have been worse. Can I get back up on top of one of these platforms? Maybe snipe it and try to hit the weak spot on its back? I should probably take care of the watchers first. Whoa, get out of there, get out of there. Crap, crap, couldn't dodge, couldn't dodge, couldn't dodge. Move, 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 move. Try to get some distance. Dodge the fireballs. Or at least attempt to dodge the fireballs. Crap, more fireballs. I want... Oh, shit, no. I want to hit the weak spot on its back. You know what? I'm just going to hit it with a stick. Knocked some armour off. So it should start taking some more damage. And, yeah, it really didn't like that much, did it? Ah, no, stop it, bugger off. You're not funny anymore. You're not impressing anybody. The thing is, ow, bollocks, you get to range to try to snipe the napalm tanks, for want of a better word, and it just either charges you down or it spits fireballs at you, but what the hell, we got it. Take the loot. The core is exposed. Override the core and hope nothing explodes. And it looks like we're going to live. Hooray!
Information on different machines. This will help me override them.
Uh-huh. That's granted us the ability to unlock new and potentially more useful and dangerous machines. Hurrah! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Horizon Zero Dawn. It's a bloody good game. and I'm really enjoying it, and hopefully you guys are going to be enjoying it too. I should warn you, by the way, that I am going to be skipping out massive, huge sections of gameplay just in an effort to focus on the plot and hurry the story along in this video series. Which basically means that anytime you see me posting a Horizon Zero Dawn video, you can rest assured that it is going to be absolutely chock full stuffed with spoilers. But since it's a PlayStation 4 exclusive, the majority of you watching this video are never going to get to play the game in the first place. So, well, spoilers aren't really going to be much of an issue for you, since this is the only way that you're likely to realistically be able to actually experience the fantastic story of Horizon Zero Dawn. Anyway, those of you who do have a PlayStation 4 and who have not yet played Horizon Zero Dawn, what the hell are you waiting for? It really is fantastic. And hopefully this video, if the first one that I did back in December hasn't already done it, but hopefully this video will have convinced you to go out and get a copy before Horizon Zero Dawn 2 comes out. Anyway, that is it for today. I hope you have all enjoyed it, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.